Hi everyone, my name is Sydney and today we're going to be discussing Chrysalis by Freya Haley. And if you don't know, Freya Haley is a YouTuber that I've been following for such a long time now. She's one of my favorites. A lot of her videos that she makes are fashion hauls or they're more on the creative side. I just really love her personality. She has a kind heart, wants the best for people. And when I found out that she wrote her own poetry book, I was very excited to read it. So this book came out in 2019, so not that long ago, but I have only just got my hands on it. I personally really loved this poetry book. I really feel like Freya speaks in a way that is just so eloquent, intelligent. There are a few themes in here which are quite dark. She goes into her past traumas, so I will just throw out that disclaimer. Yes, there are moments which will make you feel uncomfortable because of the topics that are mentioned. Being raped as a young girl. These are things that happen to Freya. It's really hard to read about, but it's all about thriving for change. I think Freya addresses these things in an amazing way that brings the situation to light. She is not alone in these things. It happens to other people and it needs to be talked about. Stories need to be heard for there to be change in the world, for change to come. And there are a lot of poems in here that stood out to me. The imagery, the way she writes, it's just beautiful. And something that really won my heart over was the comparison to Greek mythology. She would refer to Hades, Persephone, Poseidon, that kind of thing. And I really love that in here. This book is split up into 5 parts. We have Justice, Phoenix, Forgiveness, Luna, and Gaia. If you haven't read this poetry book, I highly recommend that you go read it. But yeah, I think I'm going to talk about my favorite poems from this book, go a little bit deeper. So don't forget to subscribe if you want to see some more from me. And yeah, I guess let's go into it. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Let's sippy sip. It's really interesting because in my notes I wrote to myself, you know how I know this is good poetry? Because I'm rereading them over and over again. These are powerful. That's something I love about poetry that I fall in love with. It's about the feeling it gives me, how I feel after I complete the book. Do I want to reread it? And if the answer is yes, that is the biggest reason why a book becomes a favorite of mine, why I would consider it amazing. So this book was definitely one of those kinds of books. It was really interesting because this book was very hard to read. There's Freya, and she's telling us about her story of being raped when she was young, especially by someone close to her. I think it's so powerful of her to go into detail about something like this. She doesn't want anyone in the world to go through what she has gone through. And for the people who have gone through it, she wants them to know that they are not alone, that they are standing together in this fight. And dealing with trauma, whatever it might be, past trauma, if it's in your present, it is a weight. The fact that these situations get suppressed and down the line forgotten about, that when they are remembered, there is this sense of utter confusion. It's so hard to read about. So we start in a dark place. Hourglass. Death compasses painted in loaded arrows, south in magnetic attraction to mortality of a widowed kind. I've lost my love, I've lost myself. It feels like each day my soul lies with Hades, tangled in passion on his bed of skulls, I lie. I'm trying to remain unafraid, unscathed. It just feels as though my time, my hourglass is running dry. The imagery there's this intensity. How she's talking about Hades. Hades is the god of the underworld. I won't keep quiet. If I make you uncomfortable with my story of pain, know that my words may never be restrained. No, I won't keep quiet when there's work to be done. Too many people are hurting and catching webs he's spun. So I tell all my story, open your ears, learn from me how it hurts, feel the weight of our tears. Everyone I know has a story like mine. It breaks my beating heart that there'll only be more in time. No, I won't shut up till I sleep in my grave, not until rapists learn how the fuck to behave. No one can understand the hurt that ensues, the torment and torture after being abused. No, I won't keep quiet, I won't be polite. When so many are hurting, it's my duty to fight. Against those demons who consider it just, who think it their right to break their lover's trust. Against those demons who say they were drunk, I don't really remember, they say it's not my fault. Against those demons who lurk in the streets looking for some scared person to conquer, fuck and beat. Against those fucking demons in positions of power who are older, wiser, who should know better than forcing us to cry and cower. No, I can't keep quiet, and I certainly can't be polite when When rapists walk freely and survivors remain in plight. Until we are free, until everyone knows it wrong, my voice will be here, loud and strong. This was my favorite poem in this entire book because this strength, the power. I feel like it speaks without me even needing to talk about it, but when I read this poem, I had to reread it again and again because it left me feeling the same way. It gave me goosebumps and it put this fire in me, this anger in me. This situation, it hurts. It hurts. There needs to be justice. So this was a poem where I really loved the imagery. Ice skating. Below the frosted white lake in crisp winter he resides, biding his time, biting his claws. Some days you walk over ice, admiring the birds, their beauty, reflections of the clouds in glistening glazed mirrors. Through tinted vision he will gaze upon your beauty, envy the way you spin and stride like you're skating over the very surface that holds him prisoner. Sometimes he may boil over with such rage, his heat forms cracks under your feet and forces you to feel his depths. Splashing and cold, you gasp for air through spluttering blood, which he tastes metallic, sharp over his tongue, like guilt, regret, self-loathing, fear. He loosens his grip, lifts you back to chilled air. Retreating, melancholy, to watch you glide some more and admire your perseverance, until the next cloudy day comes and he misses your light. He wants your warm delight in the dark, dreary waters buried under the surface. This yuck. This poem, it's so just the way you can see the predator waiting for his prey. It gives you that image. You see that image of innocence, an individual who wants to take that away. It really makes me think of Little Red Riding Hood, the way the wolf is waiting in the shadows and there is Red hanging out, picking flowers, enjoying her day, being innocent, connected to nature. She never asked for it. And this is the message here, that no one ever asks for this to happen to them. This is such a poem that is grotesque, giving you an image of both sides. Again, I really love the imagery from this poem. Fingertips. Beautiful. When your fingertips feather the outlines of my body, making circles in visible art on my tainted canvas. He has allowed me to realize finally I am able to be loved wholly and truly. The image of being in love, being with someone who sees you fully and wholeheartedly, who respects you, wants the best for you. It's beautiful, and that is the kind of love we all should have from everyone. Again, it's just so crazy to me that there are individuals in this world that you do have to be aware of. You always have to have your wits about you, no matter where you are. It happens everywhere. It's beautiful with this poem. If you ever feel down, if you've ever been hurt in the past or in your present, it's beautiful to know that you will be okay, that there are people out there who do want the best for you, that you are loved, you are supported. And if you don't feel that way, those people are out there waiting for you with open arms. So reading this was so beautiful. I really just could see my relationship in it. There is this sense of caring for the other. There is always just giving, and that is something so beautiful which I hope everyone gets to experience. Something to look forward to. I loved this poem. I think it's really interesting that a lot of people are scared to age. I feel like I stand with Freya in being kind of excited for aging. I think there is a lot of beauty in it, especially to reflect and look back on the person you were to the person you've become. I really love this poem for that reason. I will be an old woman seeing eucalyptus through my jaded eyes, knitting on my porch on a cane wicker chair, my panting kelpie by my side. I'll have wrinkled hands, silver gemstone rings, cradling a cup of tea. I'll drink it black, swishing it past where my crooked teeth used to be. Lines engraved by the edges of my lips, deepened through years, decades of living, through love without fear. Strands of hair, now white and wispy, drift amongst the breeze in blue airplane skies, my gentle voice following the spirit's lullabies with ease. I'll listen to the mudlarks, the lorikeets in the trees. I'll listen to soft whispers of the butterflies and the bees. I would be wise and I would be weathered. I would be blissfully alone. Finally, I would have found my freedom in this sanctuary I call home. I think it's so beautiful. Living a mortal life, how can we take that? How can we live it to our fullest potential and be happy with all the magic that surrounds us and that's within us? It is really beautiful to read a poem like this that gets you kind of excited for your journey. I think that's how life should be, and I feel really excited for all that's to come. Taste the love, the life, the death, the afterlife. 3 black ravens whom I see everywhere. Only 2 can be seen here, flying through dismal skies over these paddocks, where the air is metallic, stench of fear screams echo over the valleys. Taste the love. Men in white coats soon to be painted red, men with whips whooping like a wild beast. He's enjoying this. Sticking sticks on their backsides, prodding them down the ramps of death. This crow perched, waiting. Taste the love. He looked into my eyes with such depth, one blue eye, one brown, looking, searching, yearning. For compassion he'd never seen, make home in my species. I felt helplessness. I felt him saying, save me, as the wheels screeched through the gates of hell. Taste the love. In my mind I visualized his blue eyes bloodshot with fear, drenched with shit, suffocating, slowly twitching, lungs burning black, losing consciousness, in a dark cage of carbon dioxide. This is also a favorite poem of mine because, again, Freya just has this ability to write these poems that are coming from somewhere. This obviously connects her to her veganism, and I'm a vegetarian for many different reasons. I'm the type of person that is never going to try to force someone to be the same as me, to never force this onto others. When I read poems like this that are true, you know, it makes me think about my reason, and deep down I do get very sad. I'm not trying to preach or change people's minds, but I read this, I feel connected to it because I feel the same way. I know where it's coming from, and it's dark, it's heavy, and it's honestly hard to even talk about. It's honestly something that's happening daily, and it affects every single person on earth, but we don't talk about it. I think being a human, being an individual, there is this sense, or there should be this sense of compassion. Reading a poem like this, how could you not feel disgusted or hurt? She brings light to this situation, and I'm glad she did. I also really love the repetition in this poem, how she says, taste the love. I can almost see this as a song. It would be so dark. It makes me think of Taylor Swift, the song she did for the Hunger Games trilogy, Safe and Sound. I remember you said don't leave me here. So this is the last poem I'm going to talk about, which is one I really loved, called Chrysalis. Great and green she towered over my humble body, vines hanging to the soles of my feet, sun creeping through breaks in the sweet-smelling leaves, perched upon them a bundle of brown seedy shells, translucent and glowing, buzzing with ethereal life. I see reflections, my fleshy face, and that great mop of salty hair I carry on my shoulders, in my eyes a spark, their mother reborn in the summer. Beautiful and orange, shifting with each soft wisp of wind, making invisible waves, ripples in the humid air, psychedelic patterns of perfumed cosmos, catching my kaleidoscope eyes. I walked the streets, ecstatic, overjoyed, drugged and drunk by spring pollen, nature's love potion. My fear clouded with hazel love, vast and open, as those welcoming wings seemed to disappear in the night, their numbers falling rapidly with each summer's breath. I felt myself going with them through that colourful void onto the world of eternal spirit, the afterlife. I was pulled, strand by strand in the cyclone, an anchor tethered to my weary heart. My physical self remained unscathed. I prepared for and experienced death, metamorphosis, mental disorientation, illness of the mind. I awoke, tasting nectar of the gods, sangria delighting my taste buds, the finest of wines, laced with zeal, lust, ecstasy, no longer the monarch. I was reborn, with fresh eyes and an old soul. I was reborn, with love in my eyes and flowers in my hair. I love that one because that is the last poem of this entire book, and it is so beautiful. It speaks levels of rebirth. It speaks levels of overcoming pain that you thought was going to just ruin you. The truth that you are going to be okay, that you can do this. There is light on the other side. Especially this book in particular having such strong messages and themes to end it on that note. I found that very powerful. So yeah, that was my thoughts on this beautiful poetry book, which is filled with power. You can see Freya literally being the witchy self that she is, wanting the best for everyone, and it is powerful, it's beautiful. You feel strong whilst reading this, and it's wonderful because with all of that information, we stand with her. I honestly hope that Freya goes to write some more books because she has talent. This is beautiful and I really enjoyed reading it. That was my thoughts on this book, and I highly recommend you read it if you have not. Please tell me what you thought about this poetry book, what was your favourite poem, and I'll see you hopefully very, very soon. As usual, bye!